Welcome back guys, Shaunak here again. So this is third video in the FastAPI series. In the previous video we saw how to perform basic CRUD operations using get, post, put and delete. In this particular video I'll be showing you how to pass in objects as arguments for your post and put request. We will be using that using base model from Pydantic, and then how you can put data validation conditions on your parameters, that is the arguments. And then we will also be saying how you can pass optional parameters. So let's dive in. So the code that I'm currently displaying, so this is from the previous video. So to keep it simple, let me just remove the unwanted stuff. So the thing which I am going to show will not be making use of any delete request for demonstration purpose. And here let me remove this as well, get all movies. Yeah, so let me just save this. So right now if we come to get request, so if we pass in movie ID as the parameter, because right now it is a required parameter, if we want to write an API where if you pass in the movie ID, then the movie ID I'm referring to is this particular database. So this is the local database that I have created in this particular file. We will be making use of this for our convenience because it will keep the demonstration very simple. So it consists of 5 key value pairs for those of you who have not joined in the previous 2 videos. So it has 5 key value pairs where the keys are integers 1 2 3 4 5, and the values are information about the name of the movie, the description of the movie and the rating of the movie. So this is the database, which is basically a dictionary where keys are integers and values are again small dictionaries. And I'll remove this FastAPI, so we will start from the scratch. So as usual, import FastAPI from FastAPI, import FastAPI, and then we will instantiate FastAPI in app. So these methods which we created in the previous video, get, post and put. So let me just remove this and this as well. I'll recreate those post and put requests for demonstrating the base model. So let me restart the uvcon server, which is the mock server. So uvcon in the terminal, then you type in the name of the file, which is main colon this particular app and dash dash reload. So every time we make change to our file, we don't have to stop the server and restart the server. It will reload the server automatically. Execute this and let us go to this particular URL and / docs will take us to the Swagger API, Swagger UI. So here if you want to get movie info by ID, try it out. So if you see, it is a required parameter, but what if I want to keep this parameter as optional? So if I enter the movie ID, I'll get the information of that particular movie ID, but if I keep it blank and execute it, I will get information about the whole database. So that I can do by importing from typing import optional. So we will be making use of this optional. So here this data type which we have described about our argument, so I will type optional, and in optional I will put it in square brackets the data type, and then I will assign this value as none. So now if movie ID exists, if movie ID exists, this will return as true. If this particular condition is true, it will return database and the key will be the movie ID which we have passed. If movie ID is none, that is if nothing is provided, if it is kept blank, then it will return this particular condition will then become false. So this code will not get executed. Directly it will come to this particular line and it will return the whole database. Let me just save it and restart the server. Coming back to Swagger UI, right now movie ID it is showing as asterisk required. Let me just hit refresh over here, and if you see now that asterisk required is gone. So now if I click on try it out and enter movie ID as 2, it will give me the second movie information, Iron Man, which is in our database. Number 2 is Iron Man. And if I clear it and if I remove this and then execute, it will give me list of all the movies in our database, all 5 movies, 1 2 3 4 5. So this is how you can use optional. So if you want to keep that particular argument as optional, you can use that. You just have to import optional from typing, and then in optional, in front of optional, you have to pass in the data type, either string, integer, or any other data type. You have to pass it in as in a square bracket, and then assign the value to it by default to be none. This is all about optional. Then next, post. Async def create movie, and let me just type pass over here. I'll fill that out once I explain what we are going to do. So create movie. So the movie object that we will be needing information about consists of this small object which has 3 key value pairs: name, description, and rating. So in the earlier video we took this input as 3 different parameters, query parameters. But what if I want to pass all these 3 information in an object format? So to do that, I can use base model from Pydantic. So from Pydantic import base model, and here below app I will inherit this base model in movie check. So let me start from class movie check and inherit base model, and here I can define the values name, description, and rating. It will take input name, which will be string, description, which will be string, and then rating, which will be string. Sorry, rating will be integer. Once you define the content of this movie check class, we will use this movie check class in this post. So the object, let's say movie input, this data type should be of this particular class which we have defined over here, movie check. And I'll remove this pass because we won't be needing it. So key will be length of database +1, because we will be checking how many key value pairs are present in database, and then we will adding 1 to it. So the next entry that we will be doing in this database will be number 6, because 5 are already present. We will be adding 1 to make it 6. So that's why I have written here key as length of database +1, and then we will add the movie input to this database for this particular key equal to movie input, and then return message movie added. Let me quickly save this, and then we will return to our Swagger UI. And alright, I forgot to put the decorator @app.post and then the path. So never forget to add this particular path and decorator. Let me quickly refresh this. Yeah, so we have received this post request. Click on it, click on try it out, and here if you see, you have received this object. Name should be in string format, description in string, and by default it is showing rating as 0. But right now you can give rating any rating. After this particular demonstration, I'll be showing you how to put conditions for data validation. So rating, let's say 3. Name, I'll just make it 6. Name will be Thor, and then description, Norse god with hammer, and then execute. Status code 200, response body message, movie added. And coming back to our get request again, I won't pass any parameters, so ideally it should show me all the movies. So 1 2 3 4 5, and then this 6th one, it's added over here. Similarly you can do for put as well. Let me just copy paste it. Since this is demo, let me not copy paste it. For practice purpose, and to keep it simple, I'll type app.put, because this is a put request, and then a sync. Even if you don't write a sync, it will still work. Let me just show you over here. Def edit movie, and here I will be passing movie input as the argument, and the data type will be movie check. So it should match the class movie check. And here for editing we will also be needing movie ID. Movie ID should ideally come before this movie input. Movie ID, which is integer format. So movie object from database, that will be equal to database, and the key will be movie ID. And from this movie object we will replace name. What we can do is, we don't have to do this anything. So already we will be getting the new object from this movie input, so directly we can do this database, then movie ID, that is equal to movie input, and then return message movie updated. Let me save this and show you. Coming back to our Swagger UI, refresh this orange one. Now you see let us change number 5, the movie number 5, from Avengers to Avengers 3. So movie ID 3, and here request body Avengers 3, Thanos gets Infinity Stones, and then let us give this a rating of 9, and then execute it. We have received status code as 200 and response as movie updated. Now ideally this 5th one, which was earlier Avengers 2, should get changed to Avengers 3. Click on try it out, execute. So for some reason it did not get updated. Let me just see why. Oh sorry, my bad. Here we had given movie ID as 3, and here in movie ID 3 it is appearing as Avengers 3, Thanos gets Infinity Stones, rating as 9. So this has executed successfully. Now let us move on to the next thing. Now the problem, field validation problem. So let's say if I want to add to this particular list, I can remove let me click on try it out. Then I can remove the string then description, and then in rating I can type 123 and then click on execute. It will still process successfully, movie added. But when I execute this, get all movies, so if you see this number 6, name is blank, description is blank, and rating is blank. So far, based upon the movie data that we have, there needs to be a name, there needs to be a description, and also the rating is let's say between 1 to 10. So it should not be less than 1 and it should not be greater than 10. So let us see how we can do that. So for that, from Pydantic I'll be importing fields. I'll be making use of this field. So in this class which we had created from base model, I will write equal to field, and in bracket I will type minimum length, mean length should be 1. So at least some alphabet should be there. You can also put maximum length as well if you want to limit. Let's say if you want to limit up to 20 characters. So if the name goes above 20, it will throw an error. Similarly, description, field, minimum length 1, and then rating, field. Since this is an integer, instead of minimum length I'll be using less than LT, less than 11, and greater than 0. Let me save this and refresh the Swagger UI. And now in post, if I remove the string from name and description, if I keep rating as 0, so our rating is from 1 to 10, it should not take 0, and if I execute it, it will throw an error 422. Ensure that the value for this particular name, ensure this value has at least 1 character. Then for description, ensure this value has at least 1 characters, and for rating, ensure this value is greater than 0. Now the same thing if I type more than 20 characters over here, so these are more than 20, and for description if I type something, we have not put any maximum length limit for description, and in rating if I type 20, it will still give me an error. So for name it is saying ensure this value has at most 20 characters, and description was okay, so it is not talking anything about description. But for rating it is giving message that ensure this value is less than 11, because we have given that particular data validation condition that it should be less than 11 and greater than 0. So 20 is obviously greater than 11 and we want it to be less than 11, so that's why it is throwing this error. So let me just quickly change it. Let me take this below to 20 characters, the name, let's say Thor 2, something about Ether. The movie was so forgettable, I don't recall anything. Then rating, let's say 2, and then let us execute this. Now it is giving status code of 200 and message movie added, and when you go to get and execute it, you see that this movie has been added to number 6, Thor 2. So that's how you can use field to do data validation using Pydantic. So in this video we saw how to use base model, using which you can send in objects as the arguments for your API. Then we saw how to do data validation, like using the field method. So you can assign the argument values to field, and there you can pass in the condition over there, minimum length, maximum length, less than, greater than. You can also give a default value. Let's say for rating, default value we give is 5. Let me save it just for example purpose. Let me show. And for description, I can write sample description, save it. And coming back here, let me refresh it, post request. So if you see over here, it is showing sample description and rating as 5. Earlier it was appearing as string, right now it is appearing as string for name. Similarly, it used to appear string for description, and also the rating used to be 0, but now the rating is appearing as 5. This is because we have set the default value over here for rating 5, and for description the default value is sample description. So this is how you can give the default values as well. So that's all for this video. In the next video, I'll be talking about HTTP exceptions and how to give your own status code once that API is executed successfully. Thank you all. Thank you for your time. If you find this helpful, let me know. This is Shaunak signing off, but you be safe. Thanks. Bye.